The sun dipped below the mountains today, painting the western sky in hues of apricot and rose. It was beautiful, wasn't it? Made you want to reach out and touch the colors as they bled into the horizon. Do you ever feel that way? A pull towards something just out of reach, like a melody, but can't quite place. Tonight, we chase that feeling. We explore the undertones of longing and the harmonies of hope. Welcome to our sanctuary of sound. Welcome to Echoes. I'm your host. And tonight, S Journey takes us to the heart of silence. Abbey nestled deep in the embrace of an ancient glen. But before we step into the hushed halls of this sonic sanctuary, allow me to share a secret with you. A little over 2 years ago, my co-creator and I embarked on a mission. We wanted to create a space where sound met story, where music wove its magic around carefully crafted narratives. And thus Echoes was born. It's been a beautiful journey, filled with ethereal landscapes, fantastical tales, and most importantly, all of you, our incredible listeners, who join us on these sonic voyages every week. Our show has been a labor of love, a testament to our passion for storytelling and music. And now we're thrilled to announce that Echoes has found a new home here on YouTube. Our stories will continue to unfold, our musical landscapes will continue to expand, and our shared love for sonic exploration will only grow. So if you haven't already, we invite you to subscribe to our channel. Become part of our community. Together, let's embark on a new chapter, filled with resonant adventures. Now, let's return to our tale. Take a deep breath in, and slowly let it go. Again now, inhale through your nose, and exhale gently through your lips. Let the world outside drift quietly away. Feel your body melt into the softness beneath you. The weight of your thoughts becoming lighter, like mist, rising from morning fields. Let your shoulders fall. Let your eyelids grow heavy, and let the rhythm of your breath become the rhythm of your dreams. You're safe here. You're warm. And everything you need is right here, in this moment. Now, Close your eyes and come with me. Our story tonight begins in a place untouched by time, nestled deep in the folds of an ancient glen, where mossy trees cradle the sky and the wind speaks in whispers. There rests an abbey made of quiet stone. It is not marked on any map. It is found only by those seeking. Not noise, but stillness. They call it Silence Abbey, and within its cloistered walls, lives a bell, not a smith of sound, but a sculptor of silence. His name has long been forgotten, but his work hums through time. Each morning, as the mist coils through the bell towers, arches, the bellmaker stirs from his narrow bed, breathes in the chill dawn air, and descends the spiraling stairs carved into stone worn smooth by centuries of pacing monks. His hands, calloused and careful, greet bronze, the way a healer greets the wounded tenderly. You see, the bells of Silence Abbey are unlike any others. They are cast, to never ring. The monks who once walked these flagstone paths believed that true clarity of the soul could be found in the space between sounds, in the hush, the pause, the quiet, just before the bell tolls. And so, once each year, on the vernal equinox, when light and shadow weigh the same, the bells are allowed to sing. Just once, just one note per bell, and then, silence for another year. The bellmaker understands this. He lives for it. He listens, not for noise, but for tone, for purity. In the forge behind the chapel, you can imagine the soft crunch of his boots on the gravel floor, the creak of old wood, and the gentle hiss of embers rising from a bed of coals. Outside, the glen sways with slow grace birches brushing together like sleepy dancers, owls blinking from hollowed trees, and the stream murmuring secrets only the stones beneath it can keep. And there, among the shimmer of heat and halo of forge light, the bellmaker stirs molten bronze. He adds a pinch of silver filings, not for sound, but for soul. An old belief, older than kings, says that silver remembers silence, and preserves it. When he pours the liquid fire into its mold, he does so with the steadiness of ritual, the gentleness of prayer, and he waits 4 days, weeks, until the bell has cooled, until it is ready to be freed. And when it is, he lifts it carefully with linen-wrapped hands and carries it to the sanctum of stillness, a round stone room at the abbey's very heart. There, in a circle, hang the others, some small as others tall as men, each bearing no inscription, only a faint shimmer of age, and an aura of immense calm. Visitors who enter the room say they feel a gentle pressure on their chest, as if the air itself were listening. Some describe the hearing faint tones, not with their ears, but with their skin, a soft resonance, like the hum of stars, or the echo of thought, just before it becomes speech. But only the bellmaker knows the truth. They are silent, and yet they speak. Legend tells that once, long ago, a knight came to the abbey, tormented by the screams of war echoing in his memory. He had not slept in many years. The monks welcomed him, gave him rest, and led him to the sanctum. He stood beneath a bell called Stillborn Light, and though it made no sound, tears slipped down his face. He didn't understand it. Why did the sight of an unrung bell stir such sorrow? But as the night deepened, a hush fell upon his soul. And that night, for the first time since battle, he dreamed of nothing at all. The bellmaker often runs his fingers over that same bell. He doesn't remembered the night. He was too young then, but he remembers the hush that lingered 4 weeks after. That hush still lives in the corridors, in the ivy winding through broken stone, in the dew that gathers on the chapel windows, in the fire that never crackles, a glows steady, like an old breath that never lets go. And now, the equinox is near. The air is changing. It is lighter, more golden. The birds return in whispers, and the bells, dormant all year, begin to feel it too. There is a soft tension in the bronze. Not fear, not excitement, but readiness. The bellmaker walks among them by candlelight, brushing them gently with swan feathers. He sings, not loudly, but barely above a breath. It is not a song with words, only tone, pure, slow, ancient. The bells do not answer, but they listen. And perhaps somewhere deep inside them, they begin to remember their voice. And so the night of the equinox arrives. A hush falls over the glen, over the ancient abbey, over the very essence of time. The bellmaker, with hands that tremble slightly, yet move with the grace of one who knows the sacred rhythm of ages, prepares to awaken the slumbering giants. The first bell he chooses is one of remembrance. Its bronze skin bears the patina of countless years, a silent testament to echoes of the past. As he approaches, the bell seems to sigh, and as he strikes it, a single tear rolls down his weather-beaten cheek. The note hangs in the air, pure and resonant, a single pearl of sound in a sea of expectant quiet. It is a sound that touches the soul, that resonates with the deepest chambers of the heart, a sound that speaks of memories, both joyous and melancholic. As the note fades into the vast expanse of the night, it carries with it the hopes and dreams, the joys and sorrows of countless souls who have walked the hallowed paths of Silence Abbey. The bell of remembrance tolls not to shatter the silence, but to enrich it, to remind all who stand beneath its ancient boughs that life is a tapestry woven with moments, some spoken, some silent, but all resonating in the grand symphony of existence. And now, dear listener, we invite you to join us in the comments below. What memories does the sound of this bell evoke for you? Share your stories, your echoes of the past. Let the conversation resonate. Thank you for joining us on this journey through sound and story. If you found solace in the tale of the bellmaker, or if the resonant notes of the bells of Silence Abbey stirred your soul, we invite you to show your support. Your likes and comments are the echoes that fuel our creative fire, guiding our path and inspiring our Until next time, may your days be filled with the music of joy, and may your nights be as peaceful as the slumber of a bell maker in the heart of a silent abbey. Until we meet again in the ethereal realms of echoes, farewell. The equinox draws near, and with it, the glen begins to change. The air brightens, not in sound, but in hue. Mist lingers for shorter spells, and the trees sway with something that feels like awareness. The stream murmurs with a clearer tone, and the forest seems to pause, as though the earth itself is holding its breath. Deep inside silence, Abbey the Bellmaker prepares. Just once a year, on the day when light and dark hold equal sway, the bells are awakened, not to perform, not to ring with grandeur, but to release one pure, quiet note. Just one. The monks believed sound, when overused, became coarse, but a tone preserved in silence could cleanse the soul in a single breath. That belief has never faded here. The night before the ritual, the bellmaker walks, the sanctum of stillness. His steps are slow, respectful. Behind him, candlelight flickers across ancient stone, casting golden ripples through the room. He wears a simple wool robe, undyed and heavy, and around his neck rests a carved charm, a closed eye, symbolizing inward quiet. In his hands, he carries the mallet. It is not a hammer, not a tool of force, but a slender rod carved from pear wood, once used in making prayer flutes. It holds silence well. He approaches the first bell, small, shaped like a teacup, its bronze surface catching the candlelight. Though the bells bear no markings, he knows this one by name. First, sleep. With no announcement, no gesture, he strikes it. The sound is gentle, soft enough to blur into breath. It rises like mist, then vanishes into stone. He waits for its silence before moving on. The next bell is taller, thinner, its mouth narrower. He calls it Pulse of Sky. A single strike fills the room with something deeper, almost earthy. It doesn't travel outward, it draws inward, as though the bell isn't heard, but felt. Breath by breath, step by step, he continues. Each bell responds with one note. Each note is enough. There is no rush, only silence, becoming sound, then returning again to stillness. At the sanctum center rests the newest bell, wrapped in fresh linen, set upon a pedestal of black stone. It was forged only days ago and has never spoken. It waits. The bellmaker places a hand upon it. The bronze is cool, but inside, it feels warm, as though it's holding a breath not yet released. He raises the mallet, closes his eyes, and strikes. The sound does not rise. It folds inward, blooming gently in the chest. It doesn't echo, it settles. It isn't meant to wake. It is meant to soothe, to loosen, to surrender. The bellmaker doesn't speak, doesn't smile, but something behind his eyes softens. The bell has spoken, and like the others, it will not speak again until next year. As dawn bleeds into the sky, the candles grow low. The bells hang once more in silence, but the air feels changed, calmer, cleaner, more balanced. The ritual is complete. The bellmaker steps outside. Dew clings to his bare feet. The sky stretches wide and pale. The birds have not yet begun to sing, but they will. The trees bow gently in the morning breeze, and the mist curls low through the glen like a sigh. Somewhere beyond these hills, someone stirs in bed. Their thoughts, tangled and heavy, begin to loosen. They don't know why, but they breathe easier. Their limbs grow still. Their mind quiets, like a lantern dimming for the night. And in that hush, they sleep. This story was made possible by our supporters. A special thanks to our highest tier members who get to request stories like this one. We're so glad you requested this story because look, how many of you are already tapping the like button? It means we can keep making more stories like this one and sharing them with everyone. If you want to help us make stories that bring people together, you can join our membership program today. You can unlock exclusive perks like submitting a story request, getting early access to our podcast, and watching our videos without ads. When you join, you will be joining a community of awesome people from all around the world who love to hear great stories. We appreciate you and thank you for listening. This is the land of echoes, and the people who live here have learned the secrets of memory. These are the tales from the glen. In the days following the equinox, the abbey settles back into its sacred stillness, the kind of stillness that feels full, not hollow, a presence rather than an absence. The forge rests cold, the bells remain untouched, and the air around the abbey carries a hush like a soft breath held between heartbeats. Outside, the garden behind the chapel stirs in gentle rhythm. Violets bloom between the stones, and time trails down the edges of cracked brick. The bellmaker works slowly among them, hands in the warm soil, not speaking, not rushing. He hums sometimes, but not for the plants. He hums for the silence that grow in, the kind of silence that remembers every note and holds it close. The work of the forges ends when the first leaves turn. By midsummer, the fires burn low and soon will slumber. The tools hang silent. Even the hammers are still now. Only the echo of warmth remains. The air grows crisp, and the mountains wear their first light jackets of frost. When the sun dips behind the peaks, shadows stretch long and lean across the glen. Soon, the chill will bite, and winter's breath will settle over all things, blanketing the world in white. But not yet. Not before the last bell is rung. He hums again, low and slow, like the turning earth. The new bell, forged only weeks ago, waits quietly among the others. It has no name yet. In this place, bells are not named after they sing, but after they sleep. Only with time can their true nature be revealed. Some bring peace, others clarity. Some seem to do nothing at all, but even that, the monks believed, is a kind of gift. The bell the traveler had rung hangs above the porch. Its song was brief, barely a whisper of change. So the bellmaker did not try to shape its tune. Sometimes, in the deepest silence, he thinks he can hear its song. Something about loss and letting go, about surrender and the slow, sure unfurling of hope. But those are his own echoes, his own memories. The bell holds only potential, waiting for someone to come along who understands the language of its silence. Until then, it waits. And the bellmaker tends his garden, the bells standing patiently around him like old friends. He does not touch it again. He simply lets it rest, lets it dream, as all new bells must. One mist-oft morning, a traveler appears on the path to the abbey. He carries no pack and speaks little. His eyes are tired not from the road, but from something deeper, a kind of heaviness that has no name. He tells the bellmaker he heard something in a dream, a note, barely a whisper, and that, without knowing why, his feet led him here. The bellmaker does not question. He opens the door, offers warm milk steeped with lavender, and lights a small fire by the hearth. That night, the traveler sleeps without dreams, beneath a quilt sewn with stars. The next day, no words are spoken. They walk the stone halls until they reach the sanctum of stillness. The traveler pauses beneath the newest bell, the one that is yet to be named. He closes his eyes, says nothing, and simply stands there. For a long moment, there is no sound, just breath and space and the quiet hum of stone. Then, slowly, his shoulders soften, his chest lifts. He exhales fully and turns away. That evening, as the traveler sleeps, the bellmaker sits alone in the empty forge. He does not light the fire. He does not touch the tools. He just listens, not to the wind or the rustle of leaves, but to the silence inside him, the deep, slow river where all his bells are born. Far beyond the glen, the world is busy with noise. Bells ring for meetings, for danger, for celebration, for grief. But not here. Here the bells ring only once a year. One note, one breath. That is enough. Because in this place, silence is not emptiness. It is peace, waiting, listening, holding everything that has ever been spoken and everything that need not be. He listens for the faintest tremor, the whisper of wind through the high branches, the sigh of a falling leaf, the scurrying of a mouse, the slow drip of water from a fissure in the wall. To the untrained ear, these sounds might seem discordant, random, unwelcome, but to the Bellmaker, they speak a language as old as the hills themselves, a language of place, of belonging, of becoming. Once, long ago, a novice had asked the elder Bellmaker how he learned to listen, to discern the music woven into the fabric of creation. The elder had smiled, his eyes crinkling at the corners. "When you stop ringing bells," he'd said, his voice raspy with age and wisdom, "you begin to hear the music of the spheres. You learn to listen not just with your ears, but with your whole being." The novice had frowned, puzzled. But what if the music is faint, too quiet to hear? The elder had placed a hand on the young man's shoulder, his touch surprisingly strong. "Then," he'd whispered, "you become the music." Years had passed since that lesson, years filled with ringing and listening, creating and contemplating. And now the Bellmaker understood. He is the music. He is the sound of the wind through the ancient trees, the murmur of the stream tumbling over stones, the sigh of leaves surrendering to the earth. He is the pulse of the mountain, the heartbeat of the forest. He is the echo in the glen. The traveler wakes at dawn, restless. The quilt is cool where he lay, undisturbed, as if he had never been there at all. He slips out of the room, unseen, unheard. The Bellmaker stirs, stretches, and rises. It is time. The first leaves are turning. The air is sharp with coming frost, and a new bell waits to be sung. He moves with a lifetime of habit, his steps sure, his purpose clear. The sanctum of stillness is empty, save for the bells. Light filters through the high windows, painting stripes of gold across the worn flagstones. Dust motes dance in the sunbeams, swirling and dipping in silent celebration. The Bellmaker runs a hand along the largest bell, feeling its resonance in his fingertips. Then he lays his palm against the newest bell. It is cool, smooth, unblemished. He closes his eyes, breathes deep, and listens. For a moment, there is only silence, vast and unending. And then he hears it, the faintest tremor, the ghost of a vibration, the echo of a sigh. And as he listens, the sigh deepens, strengthens, becomes a song. A single note, pure and unwavering, rings out. It resonates within him, echoing the rhythm of his own heartbeat. And as he stands there bathed in the golden light, he knows the song of this bell, the bell that in this moment is all that matters. He opens his eyes, his face creased with understanding. This bell, he knows, will bear witness to the unspoken, the unheard, the unsaid. A bell for those who carry burdens too heavy to speak, a solace for the silenced, a sanctuary for the unheard. He will name it Whisper. The world outside the glen is always turning, changing, rushing. Seasons begin their slow turn. The leaves change hands and then fall. Winter winds come down the hills and are hushed beneath the shelter of the old abbey walls. But inside the glen, all is still. When the traveler first came here, he felt the difference immediately. It was like walking into a dream. Now, as he stands at the lip of the glen, he looks out at the moving world and breathes in the soft stillness that clings to this place. The sky above the glen is not quite as vast as other places. The trees do not scrape up towards it as if trying to touch something just beyond their reach. Here, the trees grow low and spreading, making a soft, green, leafy ceiling overhead. And that ceiling, in turn, frames the sky so that it seems close, shy, uncertain what to do with the endless blue. And the clouds drift by like unspoken thoughts, slow, silent, out of reach. Here in the glen, everything is held in breath. Moss continues its quiet climb across the old stones, patient, persistent. Ivy thickens in the corners where wind dares not go. Inside the abbey, there is no schedule, no bell to divide the hours. Days are marked only by light, when it comes through the tall windows and when it fades. Time is marked by the turning of the leaves outside, and the lengthening or shortening of shadows on the floor. The Bellmaker moves through time gently. He lights candles with the same slow care he uses to shape bronze. He waters the garden. He brushes dust from the old chapel benches. The silence is not empty. It is full of bees and birds and rustling leaves and falling rain. Sometimes the wind takes voice and sings through the trees, but most days it is soft and shy. The Bellmaker is never rushed. There is always time. Time to watch a butterfly unravel on a stone. Time to bring in fallen branches and stack them carefully near the hearth. Time to sit with a visitor and share a cup of tea. While the shadows lengthen and the last light lingers in the west, he makes no new bells here. Not yet. Some years he casts many bells, each one an answer to a need, a question, a prayer. Some years pass with only one bell. This is one of the quiet years, and in quiet years, rest is the work. The traveler has been here many years, but he doesn't remember how many. Time does not turn the same way here, and he does not mark it the way he used to. When he first arrived, he walked the hills every day, tracing lines along the horizon until he could find the place where sky and earth met and slipped together. On windy days, he stood with eyes closed, letting the wind take his worries and carry them away. Then he began to notice the colors in the moss, the tiny wildflowers pushing up through the stones. He began to watch the stars in the winter, tracing constellations, finding comfort in their ancient, unchanging light. He began to hear music in the wind, a lullaby in the falling rain. He learned to read maps by the flight of birds, to tell time by the sun's slant, to understand the language of the glen. And so, the traveler remains. He does not ask questions. He does not rush to leave, not because he has nowhere to go or someone to return to, but because he can stay here, because the glen needs him, not to speak, not to fill the silence, but to be part of it. Most mornings, he walks the edge of the glen, watching the light move over the hills. At night he sits by the hearth, not needing stories or songs, just warmth, just the weight of wool and the scent of dried herbs on the air. The silence is enough for him now. It wraps around him like sleep, soft, safe, deep. One evening, as the traveler prepares the fire for the night, the Bellmaker asks him to do something. He wants to show him something. Outside, the sun is sinking low. It pulls the shadows like long fingers across the grass. The Bellmaker steps out into the fading light, and the traveler follows. They walk a familiar path through the trees until they reach a small clearing. In the center is a ring of time. The plants have grown wild here, tangled and thick. The traveler kneels beside it, knowing what the Bellmaker will ask. He has watched this man coax life from stone, coax music from metal. To help in this way is the least he can do. Together, they clear the brambles and weeds, brush away the dirt, and loosen the tangled roots. The traveler finds a small rock to make a divot in the center, and the Bellmaker shows him how to hold the time in a circle, how to pack the roots against a stone. Then he steps back and looks at what they have done. He looks at the young plants, and the traveler feels the urge to add another layer of protection to keep the plants safe from the elements, from animals, from anything that might harm them. So he gathers smooth stones and arranges them in a circle around the base of the time. They do not speak. They do not need to. The Bellmaker gives the plants one last look, then turns and walks away. The traveler watches him go, and when the Bellmaker is out of earshot, he begins to hum. Not to himself, but to the time, to the bees and butterflies that will soon come to rest among the fragrant blossoms. He doesn't know the tune. It isn't a song. It is a settling, a grounding, a quiet hum. The kind of hum that comes from being present long enough to know the space you are in, not to change it, just to join it. As the seasons turn, the traveler and the Bellmaker learn to read the rhythms of the glen together. They plant and prune and weed, mend and sweep, dust and water. They sit in silence and share meals with friends who come to visit. They welcome new visitors and see old ones depart. The work is simple. It is honest. It is good. Some evenings after supper, they gather sticks and branches that have fallen during the day and build a fire on the flat stones outside the kitchen door. The flames rise up and twist and curl and reach, reflecting the endless sky. And on cold nights, when the trees are bare and the wind bites deep, they bring the wood inside and pile it high in the great hearth in the hall. Then they stand back and watch the flames lick up dry leaves and twigs, climb higher, catch the loft beams, dance wildly, fall low, settle down to embers glowing bright and slow. Every so often, the traveler stops what he is doing and looks at the bell hanging from the old wooden beam in the sanctum. It still has no name. It still has no song. And still, every time he looks at it, it seems a little less empty. As the years turn, the traveler grows older. His hair, once the color of wheat, is now shot through with silver. His face, weathered and lined, is easier in its shape. His steps are slower, softer. The bellmaker has slowed as well. His shoulders seem to stoop a little further. The muscles in his arms are a little less defined. But when he bends to pick up a hammer or to adjust a length of chain, his movements are sure, steady. On the coldest day of the year, the sun barely climbs above the horizon. Snow dusts the window ledges and hushes the glen even more than usual. Inside, a small fire crackles gently, and the abbey is wrapped in that perfect silence that falls just before sleep. The traveler watches flakes fall from the chapel window. The bellmaker brings him a cup of warm cider with cloves. He doesn't offer a word of greeting or farewell. The traveler does not expect one. They don't speak much anymore. There is no need. They sit in companionable silence, watching the flames and listening to the falling snow. And that night, as candles flicker lower and breath becomes slower, the bellmaker hears a tone. Not from the bells, not from the air, but from within. Not a sound, but the feeling of a tone vibrating in his chest. A soft, steady hum, like the first idea of a song. It isn't time to cast. Not yet. But he knows. The next bell is already speaking. The unnamed bell still hangs in the sanctum, untouched, waiting. The bellmaker enters sometimes and simply sits beneath it, listening, not to sound, but to what remains when there is none. He still doesn't know the bell's name, but he knows it is beginning to form. Okay, so this whole month of December is basically about rest and reflection. So this story is just meant to embrace that energy. It's a bit slow, a bit atmospheric, a bit introspective. You know what? Maybe it's perfect for snuggling up on a winter's evening. That's my hope. Anyway, and hey, also, if you haven't already, I'll admit it can feel hard to motivate sometimes. Like it feels extra hard to get the word count up or finish those longer form projects or keep up with all the things. I got you. It is literally free to sign up, and it has such a great tool to organize your ideas and outlines and all of your writing in one place. And it's easy to use. I mean, check out some of these storyboards. How cool is this? Okay, winter lingers around the abbey like a breath held too long. The glen sleeps beneath its quiet blanket, and the trees barely stir. Time moves slowly here, measured only by light and shadow, by how deeply the hearth glows in the evening. The bellmaker's days are simple. He moves without haste, lighting candles, warming tea, brushing frost from stone windows with the same calm care as one might turn the pages of an old book. The traveler remains, speaking little. He has become part of the rhythm, part of the hush. Each morning, he carries a bundle of firewood through the frost-misted corridor, his steps soft, his breath visible in the air, like smoke from a slow-burning thought. In the afternoons, he and the bellmaker share warm bread and silence. Sometimes they speak, but often they don't. The abbey does not need stories. Its stones hold more than enough. The sanctum stays closed. The bells are not touched. The new bell, still unnamed, waits with a kind of gentle patience. Not dormant, just resting. And all around it, the air holds still as if listening for something not yet spoken. At night, the wind sighs low through the tower arches, and in that sigh is a comfort that asks nothing of you. Even dreams come softer now. The Bellmaker senses it. The quiet inside him is not empty. It is full of something unspoken, waiting to be shaped. But not yet. This is not the season for forging. This is the season for listening. So we pick up again in the middle of winter. It's been weeks since our two characters have taken shelter in the Abbey. By now, they've settled into a routine. They're both taking time to heal, but in different ways. The traveler, physically. The Bellmaker, emotionally. He's grieving, but I don't think he'd call it that. I think he'd say he's remembering. And there's a difference. There's a gentleness to his grief. It doesn't consume him. It doesn't cripple him. Maybe that's why he can be so patient, so deliberate in his motions. Because he knows that grief, like tuning the bell, takes time. It needs to be done carefully. The traveler doesn't understand that quite yet, but he sees it in the Bellmaker. This ability to be still. And I think he envies it. I think he's used to moving from place to place, always seeking something, always going. But here, the Bellmaker seems at peace in the stillness, and it's drawing him in, softening him like the winter sun. Now, you might be thinking, this is all a bit slow, a bit dull, a bit too introspective. And honestly, that's fair. There's no action, no plot twists, no big reveals. But the point isn't plot. The point is atmosphere. The story wants you to feel something, to experience the quiet. It wants you to appreciate the small moments, the warmth of the bread, the glow of the fire, the weight of the wood in your arms. These are the things that anchor us. They remind us that even in the darkest depths of winter, life goes on. There's a beauty in that, a resilience. I think of it like a cup of hot chocolate on a cold day, or a fire on a snowy evening. It's not flashy, it's not over the top, but it's comforting, it's grounding. It's a reminder that even in the hardest times, we can find warmth and solace. You know, some people are like that. Some people bring warmth and solace into your life without even realizing it. Their presence is like a soft blanket on a winter's night, and you don't realize how much you needed it until they're there. That's what the Bellmaker is. He doesn't know it yet, but he'll learn soon enough. As the story progresses, the traveler starts to open up. He tells the Bellmaker about his journey, about his reasons for being on the road, about his hopes for the future. The Bellmaker listens patiently, offering words of advice or sharing stories of his own. There's a connection growing between them, a bond forged in the fires of shared humanity. But there's something else happening too. The traveler is starting to heal physically. He's stronger now, more agile, more sure of himself. The mountains are still there, but they're not as sharp. The valleys are still there, but they're not as deep. He's finding his balance again, his center. And it's not just the physical healing. It's the emotional healing too. He's letting go of his anger, his fear, his sadness. He's embracing the quiet, the solitude, the stillness. He's learning to listen. And when he does, he hears something beautiful. He hears the song of the bells. It's a faint melody at first, but it grows stronger as the story goes on. He hears the echoes of laughter, of voices, of music. He hears the heartbeat of the earth, the whisper of the wind, the murmur of the stream. He hears the language of nature, and it's a language he understands. One day, the traveler decides it's time to move on. He's healed now, and it's time for him to go. He says goodbye to the Bellmaker, thanking him for his help, for his friendship, for his kindness. The Bellmaker doesn't ask him to stay. He knows when it's time to let go. He knows that the traveler has to follow his path, even if it means saying goodbye. As the traveler walks away from the Abbey, he looks back. He sees the faint outline of the Bellmaker standing at the door. He sees the flicker of the candlelight in the window, and he feels a pang of sadness. But it's a good sadness, a bittersweet sadness, a sadness that comes from knowing that sometimes you have to say goodbye to the people you love, to the places you cherish, to the memories you hold dear. But that doesn't mean it's the end. It just means that it's time to move on, to embrace the unknown, to keep walking, to keep listening, to keep following the melody. And as he walks away, he hears it again, the faint melody of the bells. It's a song of farewell, a song of gratitude, a song of hope, and it carries on the wind, reminding him that even when he's gone, The music will still play. The end.